What's good, Maryville? Welcome back to the Droppin Dimes podcast. I'm your host, Noah Cooper, joined by my co-host today, Perry Randle, and a very special guest for the first time. But first, Dame Dalla and Kevin Love on the Droppin Dimes podcast.
Drip, drip, drop.
Droppin dimes.
Baby Dame Dollar here, trailblazing dimes everywhere. I don't want to boast, but I'm dropping dimes from coast to coast. Dropping dimes everywhere, like I just don't care. I'm dropping dimes on the bike, on the stairs. I'm even dropping dimes on my teddy bear.
What's good, Maryville? We are back here on the Droppin Dimes podcast. Like I said, I'm your host, Noah Cooper, joined by my co-host, Perry Randle, this week, and a very special guest, our first special guest here on the Droppin Dimes podcast, Juwan Bush. How you doing today, Juwan?
I'm doing pretty well. Happy to be here, man. How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you doing today, Perry?
Hey, man, how I go third? I thought I was supposed to be second, man. Why y'all do me like that?
Hey, the special guest always goes first
Hey,
on
man,
Droppin Dimes.
it's a beautiful day to be beautiful. Happy to have you to hear Bush.
Happy
It's
to
a
be
pleasure to be in your presence, man. Hey, man, let's get this show on the road.
The legend out here, Juwan. I was curious. You coming on the show for the first time. How much NBA do you actually watch? How much do you follow the season? Because you're a busy man. You got a busy schedule with track and all.
Well, I always have the notifications on my phone, so every time I hop on Twitter, I got to see something at least related to basketball. So I'm all right, but I'm not too deep into it. I'm more of a college basketball person, college football type of person.
Not watching like every NBA game all the time. Yeah, the NBA, like a lot of people don't necessarily watch every game, but they're following it on Twitter so much because there's so much pettiness, so much joking around in the NBA. Like, who are some of those favorite guys you got out there that, like clowning in the NBA all the time?
I follow a lot of the professional NBA players, but mostly I follow the collegiate because I feel like they're trying to get into the NBA, so I feel like they're working like 10 times as hard just to break into the industry while the league guys are just trying to stay inside of it,
So you got like a favorite one of those players or anything?
I'm sorry to say, but that freaking F-150 Zion right now. He ain't doing a lot of talking, but he's flying all over the court right now.
Hey, that man's crazy.
Hey, man, so who's your school, though, in college?
Actually, right now, I don't have. I'm trying to find one right now, but I don't got one right now.
I'm surprised it ain't Texas.
It is Texas, but last season when that guy got I think it was leukemia or cancer or something, that hit me pretty deep. And Texas has been disappointing me in football as well, sadly.
Sounds about right.
This is Texas year in football, though.
Yeah,
they're finally back.
They're finally back, but they just have to beat OU for the second time. Hopefully they do.
Hey, you mentioned Zion. I'm curious to ask you, is Zion fat or is he thick?
No, that dude's thick, man. That dude is thick. He is not fat. That's all muscle.
280. He'd be one of the heaviest players in the NBA right now.
I'm sure you seen LeBron play, right?
Yeah.
Is Zion the next LeBron, in your opinion?
Nah.
Because there's very few of these talents that we get in the NBA.
This is a generational talent we got right here.
Do you think he's got LeBron-type status on the way?
To me, I think he's going to be Zion. I think no one can be the next LeBron.
Right.
So it's just he's going to be a whole different category. You can try and compare them, but I just think that Zion is just like he's going to be his own category. He's going to stray away from LeBron. He's going to do different things.
Right.
He's probably going to get trophies and rings like LeBron, but he's going to do it in a different style. He's going to do it Zion's way.
So like, is LeBron your GOAT then? Do you think LeBron's better than Jordan?
Yeah.
For sure?
For sure.
Ooh-wee.
For sure.
Ooh-wee.
I think LeBron is like the golden scar on Fortnite. If you have him, you're instantly going to be more powerful.
Scar. Whoa.
Perry, who's your favorite player? Why
It's
don't you let him
Kobe
know?
Bean. Kobe Bean Bryant. The greatest.
Kobe is disgusting. That man is nice, no matter what, no matter where.
Hey, the Mamba bites. Remember that.
That is true. Very true.
Well, what do you think about LeBron going on the Lakers then in the offseason? You like that move for him?
I think it was about that time for him to go there, even though I feel like the whole world thought they were instantly going to be top 3. But no one really thought of it realistically. Everyone thought, oh, you got the golden scar, you're instantly going to be top 5 and 4. It doesn't happen like that. You can have a good gun, but you can still get shot in the back.
Dang, you sound like a big Fortnite fan, dog. Dang. You be playing with Ben Simmons and all them?
I'm trying to relate to everyone can relate to.
That's something that Perry and I were talking about the Lakers on the show pretty much all season. Like, you're going to have to give the Lakers an adjustment period because we saw when he went to the Cavs for the second time, when he went to the Heat for the first time, they all started out rough. I think they both started out 9-9 originally, and the Lakers were right around that too. But we've seen this team develop here over the first quarter of the season now, over the first 20 games, and they're starting to look like a team that can really contend in the West right now.
I think, when we talk about Los Angeles Lakers, this is a story franchise. They always have some of the greatest players. I think probably top 5 right now be Kobe Bryant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Jerry West, and Shaq. Let's say those guys, right? Do you see LeBron fitting in and replacing one of those guys? At the end of his Lakers tenure, do you have him replacing one of those guys?
He's gonna have to take the Lakers to the top if he wants to even get inside of that.
Do you think that's possible for him? And he's 4 years probably.
4 years? Yeah. Give it 4 years, yeah. This first year, nah. It's like getting a new head coach. You're not going to just win like that.
Well, especially when you got Golden State out here right now.
Exactly.
I mean, it's going to be hard for the Lakers to contend with Golden State, especially they've been playing together so long.
Right.
Obviously, they got the 5 All-Stars on their team. We haven't even seen DeMarcus Cousins back yet on the roster. And I just think in the first season, it's going to be so hard for LeBron to overcome that. But, if some of those players leave in the offseason, say Durant leaves this offseason, say Draymond Green signs to another team, say Klay Thompson leaves here in the next year or two, then that might open the door up for Los Angeles and LeBron, especially if they can sign another guy in the offseason.
You said you're a fan of these younger guys. Are you a fan of young Bronny, LeBron's son?
That man is pretty nice. I interned for like Hoop Focus and stuff, so
Right.
I had to get into the high school and stuff like that. And
Right.
I've seen him, and that man got some.
You saw him in
bounce to him.
person?
No, I ain't
I was
seen him
about
in
to
person.
say,
I would've.
dang.
No, if I did, I would have been getting a picture myself, man. But no, I've seen him, and you have with your dad being that good, you
Right.
have no other option but to be that good.
And there's a lot of pressure on him since that is his dad.
Oh yeah.
I feel like no matter what, even if he gets really good, he's always going to be living in the shadow of his dad. Like, I mean, his whole life, like he could be
is
an all-star. Yeah.
Yeah.
He could be an all-star, but he'll still be always living in LeBron's shadow throughout his whole career.
Do you see LeBron Sr. and LeBron Jr. playing together potentially in the NBA? We got probably
That's
about
tough.
5 years from it possibly
tough.
happening.
I feel like if it does happen, LeBron's going to be like in his D Wade phase.
Right.
Like he's going to be like, I'm here, but it's just I can't move like I used to.
It's
Yeah.
going to be like every 4 games you
Yeah.
might see an old flashback LeBron performance, but it's
Yeah.
not going to be every single night after night.
And I think that's good for LeBron because he has the game to where he can just post up, make little kickouts to anybody. So it's not that he needs his athleticism. It's just that's always been a plus for him.
Yes.
Athleticism, knocking down the 3-ball occasionally. So, I think it's possible, but we'll never know, man. But you got to stay on that Who focus. Make sure if you out there, make sure you're looking for Bronny because if he's out there, I need a picture. I need something. I need a signature, something, man. Because you never know. He could be right up there with Zion whenever he gets to the league. You never know.
I really think LeBron's one of those guys that, like Kobe always said at the end of his career, he doesn't want to be one of those guys that, averages 18, 15 points a game. He always wants to be the top guy on the team. I feel like LeBron, on the other hand, I feel like he's not molded that same way, and he could possibly be one of those guys that averages like a role player almost, playing with his son in his last couple of years. I really feel like that's a possibility.
Well, I mean, it's hard right now for LeBron and Luke Walton. This doesn't seem like they're getting along too well. LeBron, he's out there calling plays that Luke Walton's not calling. So I don't know. I think it's something to think about, but I do not know because I used to think the same thing about LeBron, but now I'm starting to think, man, maybe he is more of a personality on the team that you really have to account for. Because I thought he'd be more of a laid back, say like if another star came in towards the end of his career, he'd be able to give up the throne to say like KD next couple of years. But I don't know now. I think it might be a bigger problem than what a lot of people might think. So we'll see.
And the Lakers right now sitting at 7th in the Western Conference, but they're only 3 games out of the number 1 seed. They're also only 2 games out of being the 14th seed. So the West is pretty wild right now. I mean, Bush, what do you make of the West right now, making it the Rockets are 14th right now in the West? The Clippers are leading. This is something that a lot of people didn't expect coming into the season. Is this something you expected or what?
Not at all. If I had to pick an NBA team, I'd probably say I'm like with the Rockets. And right now, I don't know what's happening. They lost to Cleveland.
Hey, first, before we get into that, how do you feel about Carmelo Anthony? How did you feel when he was coming to your team? Were you excited? Were you upset? I know if Noah was a fan of the Rockets, he was upset. But how did you feel? Texas native?
When I seen the video of Carmelo working out in I think some New York gym, you know
Right.
what I'm talking about?
Always.
It's like Lifetime Fitness
Yeah.
or something.
He was busting threes. I was like, bro,
That's what he
we going.
does.
I was like, we going.
I saw a tweet. It was like, I'm convinced this is the only hoop he can make a shot on.
I seen the same tweet, and I'm pretty sure that's it. I was like, when he was coming, I was like, oh, we scaring everybody. Golden State, everyone's getting scared. Season came, I was like, what the? He just didn't do anything. He did all right. He produced, but he wasn't as nice as I thought.
Like Melo, like he never really fit into that role off the bench that well. I feel like that's not his type of game, and he never really wanted to accept that role.
Do you see the Rockets being better off now that Carmelo is off the team? Is he the scapegoat? I gotta hear it.
I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure if he's just like messing up everything, if he's like messing up stuff in the locker room or something. It just seems like whenever Carmelo comes on a team, it's just he doesn't do as good as everyone thinks he's gonna do.
It was the same case with the Thunder, and towards the end of the Knicks' career, that when he was with the Knicks, and now the Rockets. So I don't know. Do you see another place for Carmelo in the league?
I don't know. That's 3 strikes. Like
I told Noah it's time to call Ice Cube for the big 3.
It's called.
That's what I told him.
It's time to call Jimmer Fredette in China.
Yeah,
because, I mean that might be the next route for Carmelo at this point. I really think he can produce in the NBA still. I just don't know where the best fit for him is at this point in his career. Like if you can't fit that well on a championship roster like the Warriors or the Rockets or even the Thunder last year, like where are you going to fit and succeed? Like the Knicks might almost be like the best option for him at this point.
Exactly. He had shooters with the Rockets and he had shooters with the Thunder, and still just.
It was almost like both those teams were fit pretty well for him because he could just spot up in the corner, shoot a 3, spot up on the wing. All he had to do was make the shots, and that's just not something that he did. I don't think like all the criticism he got was rightfully deserved. Do you feel that way?
Nah, they didn't have to bash him like that. I feel like they kind of did him kind of dirty because he is a veteran. He should have respect. He has respect in the NBA, but they shouldn't have done him as dirty as they did.
Well, top 25 scorers all time. He deserves some respect.
Well, especially like. Since he left, like they started out so good. He went off the team. They won like 5 games in a row, and now we've seen they've lost to the Wizards. The Cavs got blown out by the Mavericks. They lost to the Pistons in the last 4 games. So I mean, I don't really think it's all Carmelo's fault, and I think we're now seeing that really like it wasn't all Carmelo's fault. He shouldn't be the scapegoat in this situation.
But like Noah said, the Rockets are 14th in the Western Conference right now. But now Carmelo is gone. Do you see this team getting back to the team that they once was, won the first or second seed in the Western Conference?
I hope so. I think they just have to figure out what's bugging them, what's going wrong. There's a lot of season left. They just have to figure it out.
Like they got to make the playoffs, don't they? Like the Rockets aren't missing the playoffs, right?
I hope not. By the way it's looking.
Give you that conceited face. I don't know.
Like at first I was like, the Rockets were down there. I mean, they've been down like 11 to 14 seed this entire season. And I was like, all right, the Rockets got to make it sometime. But now we're a quarter of the way through the season, and they're still sitting there. So it's getting to be the point where, like it's a little iffy. They got to put something together sometime.
I got the Rockets making the playoffs. If they don't, then it's time to blow it up. They got to send somebody somewhere. But I will say that it's time for James Harden to step it up. Yes. I think I told Noah on the show yesterday, you had an MVP season. You got to build on that. You got to the Western Conference Finals, took your team to 7 games against the Warriors. Now it's time to build on that and really put your foot on the gas pedal. Yes. If you really want to get there, then you got to step up as a leader. You can't just be satisfied with MVP. And I really think it's really on James Harden's shoulders that they're struggling right now.
Well, it's like he's busting his butt out there. The last week he's averaging over 40 points a game.
That's the thing. It's not about the stats, though. I get you can get a bucket. One of the greatest bucket getters of all time.
My man's doing all he can right now.
No, he's not.
There. He is.
And you know what? They are also without Chris Paul right now.
I think that's something big, too.
So they do need him. But with that happening, you still shouldn't lose to the Wizards or the Cavs.
Ever.
That's despicable right there.
Like 4-15.
You ever seen Daffy Duck? Despicable. That's what that is right there.
Hey, well, despicable was kind of how they were against the Warriors last season. They couldn't come over the hump and beat the Warriors last season in the Western Conference Finals, especially in Game 7. Bush, what's your opinion of the Warriors?
The Warriors are, to me, in my eye, they're an Olympic year team. Like, honestly. Like, when the Olympics, we need the best player, that's basically what they have.
I mean, look, we still haven't seen DeMarcus Cousins on the team yet. We don't know if it's going to fit. I was a big fan of the Lakers whenever they had Dwight Howard, Steve Nash, Kobe Bryant. I'm like, no, this team, we're going back to the finals. We're great. And then all that was just a big old balloon, all the air coming out of it. So we don't know. But on paper, this team is the greatest team assembled.
Yes. But even without them, they're still doing pretty decent without him.
That's true.
So even if they add him and he doesn't do as well, all right, put him back to the side. Let's keep doing what we're doing.
Do you think it's easy to put that 7-foot monster to the side like that, especially with his ego too?
Yeah, that's the problem, his ego. But I don't know. The coach, I feel like he has a lot of big egos. I feel like he's kind of taming them all right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do agree, and I think Boogie has gotten a lot better. I think last season when he played with New Orleans, it showed that he matured since he was in Sacramento. He has shown that, I could play with another star and share the ball. So I think it's possible that it could work, but I think all the fans should understand that it's also possible that it might not work just because of all the talent. And I think we're seeing the same thing with the Boston Celtics right now. They have so much talent, and they have 5 guys that can all be the number 1 option on any team. But they have 5 guys that can all be the number 1 option on any team, so they all need the ball. So I just think that it's just going to be something that we're going to have to wait and see. Probably in January whenever Boogie comes back. Hopefully Steph Curry is healthy. Hopefully Draymond's right toe or whatever is not crusty anymore, and he'll be all right. So we'll see. I don't know. But the Warriors, they're going to be at the top of the Western Conference regardless. I just don't know if they're going to be able to mesh well enough together to win the title again.
I mean, it's hard to balance all those egos out and all that talent on one roster. This is something we haven't really seen often, having this much talent on one roster. And I think, like you said, I think Steve Kerr's doing about the best job he can trying to balance all these players together. We saw that like earlier. With Draymond and KD.
Right. Oh, yeah. I was about to touch on that.
Yeah. So I think they handled that coming to the end of it almost the best they could have.
I think it's an intangible factor that a lot of people forget about is that these guys are in their 3rd year, and you're adding Boogie Cousins to all this. So hopefully, they understand how to win, and this is their 3rd year, but they could also be burnt out on winning, and they're just tired. So we don't know yet. But Boogie Cousins, man, that's 50 and 20 coming to your team. So I would be optimistic regardless of what team I'm on. If Boogie Cousins coming to my team, we going to the shit, baby. That's all I got to say.
Hey, they played the Raptors yesterday. Came up short.
Great game.
In overtime. Great game. KD hit 2 3-pointers within the last 40 seconds to bring it into overtime. 3 off his career high. Did you watch any of that game, Bush? What did you think of that outcome there by the Raptors coming up with the win?
I saw a little videos while I was making a video myself, but I'm just saying, if it's that close and they don't have Steph Curry, what is the rest of the league thinking when they get Steph Curry back? Honestly?
Yeah, well, especially when they get like 130. They're putting up 130 on the Raptors without Curry and without Green.
Yes, I'd be happy to get the win, but in the back of my mind, I'd just be like, we barely got the win, and they're losing. They're forgetting 2 of their stars.
Yeah, and the Raptors, they've kind of owned the Warriors in the past too, but I think the addition of Kawhi Leonard will help, especially if these teams meet in the finals. I still think the addition of Kawhi and how good he played last night, 37 points. He was hitting some big shots, especially down the stretch, and finding the open guy too. And I feel like he was almost the perfect replacement for DeMar DeRozan on that team to elevate the Raptors to the next level. What did you think about that signing, getting Kawhi in the offseason, and how he played last night against the Warriors?
I think that was a smart move. But honestly, I'm just going to limb right here. I'd put my college tuition and say we just saw a preview of the Western Finals, honestly.
Hey, man, relax, man. You ain't got to do all that.
We were almost saying that yesterday on the show. I was anyway. It's getting to the point where in the regular season, the Raptors are almost looking like they're going to run away with the number 1 seed right now in the East.
It's possible. I definitely see the Warriors coming out. I've been saying that for the last couple of years. I feel like everybody else has. But the Raptors, man, I told Noah yesterday, all they had to do was add Kawhi and get
LeBron out.
Right. That's all they really had to do. They didn't really have to change their system or anything like that. They basically had the same group of guys, but they just added Kawhi, who's not really a big ego in that matter at any point of his career. So it's just all about making him happy. And I think if they can finish with the number 1 seed, I think he might sign a very short deal, like a 1+1 deal with the Toronto Raptors after this season. We'll see. I don't know. But this Toronto team is really good. And then this team could really give the Warriors a run for their money.
way better than I expected. Because at the beginning of the season, I was like, Kawhi's going to where? I was like, are you sure that he wants to go there?
They was just trying to get him out of San Antonio.
I was like, he ain't re-signing with the Raptors. I'll tell you that.
You never know. I got Kawhi ending up in Los Angeles with the Clippers next season.
A lot of people are saying that because, I mean, the Clippers, they got enough cap room to sign 2 max players this offseason. So, and, you know, like I said earlier, they're sitting at the top of the Western Conference right now. Their guys are almost looking unstoppable every single game when they go out there. And a lot of people, you know, they didn't expect that coming into this season.
Man,
so
6 men like Lou Will. 6 men like Lou Will. That's a bad man.
You winning the 6th man of the year award.
That's my pick every year, baby.
Over D Rose?
Of course, over D Rose. I'm sorry.
Really?
Of course.
D Rose has been looking nice.
He's a bad man.
Like I told Noah yesterday on the show, it's still early in the season. Rose has not hit the wear and tear of the grind of the season yet. Mm-hmm. Lou Will, he's been there, done that. He's there every single game. Rose, he's fragile. He's like if he steps on some bubble gum, he might be hurt for a couple weeks. So I got Lou Will still.
I just think that D Rose, he figured out that he has to change his playing style. Before, he was aggressive, going to the paint, dunking, getting 3 people in there, still getting the bucket. But now he's more on the outskirts. He's dishing the ball out more.
I do think that Rose's narrative favors him over anybody else. You know, he's had all those injuries since 2011 when he tore his ACL and then all the ankle injuries and everything. So I do think the narrative definitely has an edge for him as far as winning an award. Noah said most improved player or a 6th man of the year. Which one do you think? 6th man of the year or most improved for D Rose?
I want to give 6th man of the year. I'm gonna have to go with 6th man of the year. I feel like he just completely flipped his whole playing style just to fit. Not just to fit the 6th man, but just to understand not to get hurt and to keep playing throughout the whole year instead of making it halfway and then getting hurt.
Which is super impressive because before, like you said, he always went to the rim and he always had a horrible outside shot. He just couldn't shoot a 3 to save his life. And now he's shooting 49% from 3 this year.
Yeah.
You know, and he's taking 4 threes a game. So it's not like he's taking 1 3 a game like he used to. He's taking 4. He's making half of them. I think that's so impressive for a player to completely reinvent their game, especially in the later half of their career, to be successful. And this is a guy that was nearly out of the league last year. You know, barely putting up 5 points a game for the Cavs, and then near the later half of the Timberwolves last season got cut by the Jazz. So, I mean, I totally agree with you. If he doesn't win 6th man of the year, he better at least win most improved player or something because, I mean, this man is doing it all. And, you know, the media loves narratives, and that's the best story we got in the NBA this season.
This man changed his major.
I ain't got nothing to say.
Changed major mid-year. It's like
I want to hear y'all say the same things in January, February, at All-Star breaks. Still tell me if D Rose is 6th man of the year.
Hey, we'll see. You know, he's a torn ACL away from never playing again, but we'll see what happens. So we've went over a lot of NBA players so far, but Bush, who do you think is your MVP so far this season through the first 20 games of the year? Got a lot of big names. You got Giannis, Embiid. Some of the biggest names right now to pick from.
I hate to say it, but it's every week I see this man on my timeline. No matter what happens, it's every week. It's going to be KD.
KD
for me
this season.
Woo.
Yeah,
15-8 record.
He lost 2 big names and he's still holding the team together. Not by himself, but he's still dragging them along.
Going off every night.
Yeah, still dragging them along.
Every night, 7-foot cheat code.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of him, but every week somehow he finds his name on my timeline.
Over Giannis?
Giannis, that's a different beast, to be honest.
That's a grown man.
That's a grown man.
It's crazy.
He's been a grown man since he was 5 years old, to be honest.
Yeah, all right.
I mean, we were talking about this on the show yesterday. It's like Giannis this season, he's been putting up numbers in the paint that we haven't seen since Shaq. You know, 10 2-pointers a game. He's averaging like 5 dunks a game, like right here. Like he can always get in the lane. Especially he can't even shoot from the outside at all. He can't shoot from outside of 15 feet whatsoever. So what do you feel like makes him so successful in the paint with no outside shot at all?
It's his strength and his ridiculous long arms. I feel like even if like the ball barely comes off the rim, he's already up there getting the board back in. And I feel like everyone's not afraid of him, but like no one knows how to stop this man honestly, in the paint.
And if he gets a 3-point shot, it's definitely a wrap for the rest of the league, for sure. A lot of people call him the Greek Freak. I call him Mr. Fantastic just because of how long that man's arms is. He does a Euro from half court, he's at the basket.
Yes.
It doesn't matter. But I got Giannis, man. They're second in the East right now, and he's holding it down, man, at a young age. And I just love his tenacity. You know, he was training with my boy, Mr. Bryant, in the offseason, you know, putting in that post work. So I got to go with Giannis, man. That's my MVP so far.
I can see that.
Yeah, and I mean now, obviously, since he trained with Kobe in the offseason, that's why he's doing so good this year.
I'm just trying to say it, man. The GOAT. Bah.
Hey, I mean, no one agrees with you, but, you know.
I don't need y'all to agree with me.
I'll let you have
Go look
that
at the
one.
highlights, man.
Hey, and Giannis, you know, I mean, he's so big. He's so strong and he's so fast as well. You know, I mean that's an all-around athlete. I mean, Bush, you're out for track right now. There's a lot of fast guys. Who's your favorite? You know, not even NBA, but just professional athlete to watch that is a speedster, is just super fast out there in his sport.
Probably back in the day, it was LaDainian Thompson. That man was disgusting.
LT.
Him and Kareem Hunt. Both of them boys
Chiefs.
have wheels. They
Hey,
both
man,
have
you
some
Chiefs.
wheels.
We trying to jump on the Chiefs bandwagon, man.
Nah, man. I'm Redskins.
Stay over there,
Redskins,
man.
man.
Best team in the league.
Why the
Whoa.
I was born in Virginia, so I got to keep it on the East
Yeah?
Coast. Yeah.
How you feel about Alex Smith, man? That was nasty.
I felt bad. We couldn't blame Colt McCoy on Thanksgiving.
You see why we gave him to y'all now,
Now the
right?
Cowboys are winning y'all division too.
I'm saying. So, I thought the Saints was about to dismantle them.
I was going for the Cowboys last night. I was like, you know
Oh,
what?
there
I was
you
like, they
go.
got this.
You're sick. You're sick.
My stepdad's a Cowboys fan, so I don't really like the Cowboys that much, but like I'll root for him if they're on, just for his sake.
Hey, I do think last night gave Mahomes the MVP edge over Breeze.
Breeze was running away with it for a while there.
He was.
Honestly, and now you got Mahomes like sneaking back up after that
Yes.
game from Breeze. I mean, Mahomes' worst game put up 50 points on the best team in the league, you know, the best record. So, I mean, I think he's definitely creeping back up in there.
Oh, yeah. If he's not first, he's going to be second. Nobody else for MVP.
Hey, Mahomes, Chiefs to the bowl. I've been saying it.
To the bowl?
To the bowl. To the bowl. And I'm be right there with my bowl of cereal, ready to watch.
Hey, I don't know about all that, man.
Hey, keep hating, man. That's what. Hey, we used to it. All right, I'll be there. Don't come to the parade. Don't come. Don't come.
Hey, as long as Mahomes
Don't come to the parade. Don't call me either.
As long as Mahomes gets a Whataburger to Kansas City,
You can't come to
you can
it.
get.
Oh, okay.
No ketchup.
I'll be a fan if he brings Whataburger to Kansas City.
But you could
think
come.
everyone
No,
would be
you
a
can't
fan.
come. No,
I've never had it before. You probably have from
Never had
Texas.
it?
Never had.
You say you never had
Never
it.
in my life.
It's life-changing, man.
I've had In-N-Out before. I
Trash.
think In-N-Out's better.
Nah.
I've never even had it, and I know
Whoa.
it's better.
Bro, that's just the name. The food
No,
is not
man.
that. Hey, we can't talk about
burgers are
quality
good.
indicators. We can't talk about that.
The
man.
burgers are good. That's all I got to
We
say.
gotta leave it at that, man.
Nah.
Hey, well, Bush, what's your favorite meal to have before you go out for a meet?
I gotta be some fire.
Oh, the meets are always in the morning. We always leave at like 7 a.m. So I have to have a big breakfast. 5 eggs. Can't be less
5
than
eggs?
Has to be 5 eggs.
Dang.
2 things of toast, and then 3 slices of bacon.
Why? When did that start?
Because I can't eat during the day, because if I eat before, it's gonna weigh on me, and then I'm not gonna run.
You're gonna be on that toilet, huh?
as well. So I have to eat a big breakfast, and then I don't eat until after the meet's over, because I run the 4x4, and that's the last 2 minutes.
What's your fastest 4x4 time? I used to run the 4x4 myself.
Really, was you nice?
Hey, I'm a basketball fast, man. My fastest time was a 53.
All right. My fastest one was
See
last
how you said all right? That means you're slow as hell.
It's like, all right, it's not that great, but
My fastest one was 48.4. That was last year.
that's nothing. Now I was out for cross country in high school, so I was more of the long distance, and we usually had pasta the night before, and then we like to eat pancakes the morning before to get that energy in us before we ran our races. Do you ever have like pasta dinners or something like the night before you guys run it all?
Oh, yeah. Our coach usually buys us like big pasta platters before the meets.
Yeah, I mean, meals are definitely something super important. Also, overall, Bush, what's your biggest lesson that you've learned from sports overall?
Probably that the true hard work actually does pay off if you're putting in true hard work. Not hard work just to put on your Snapchat story to be like, oh, I'm working today, or just to put on your Instagram story, or I'm putting in work today. It's the hard work where you're in there for hours and you don't need nobody else but yourself in there.
And I think that's the problem with, social media today. Everybody's doing it for show.
Yes.
Nobody's really doing it because they want that long-term payoff. Of course, they say it, but they're not really putting in that work. They're doing that momentary work for everybody else to see. I think that's the problem, but, there are those athletes out there that are putting in work, and that just so happened to show up on social media at times too. So it's two-sided sword, but I definitely hear what you're saying.
And, we like to keep the podcast around 30 minutes. We're almost getting around that 30-minute mark right now. Before we get out, I just want to know, who is your finals winner this season, Bush?
Oh.
Give us the finals matchup. Raptors, Warriors.
I need the series count too.
Oh, God.
I need the finals MVP. I need averages. I need everything.
I want to say it's going to be a Cinderella story.
Oh, my God.
And that the Raptors are going to beat the Warriors.
But
it's going to be that, and probably it's going to have to go to Game 7.
Game 7.
It's going to have to be Game 7.
Raptors over Warriors?
Yes.
In Toronto or Golden State? That's big right there.
Might be in Toronto.
Might be in Toronto.
In Toronto.
Woo.
That'd be a nice Cinderella story.
In Toronto.
We'd have Drake there and everything.
Yep.
Drake was hyped up last night too. I always love watching Raptors games just for Drake, like just for Drake's presence being there. Like, I mean, I just love watching Drake on the sidelines when the Raptors are playing. That's almost more exciting than the game. Like when the camera cuts to Drake and he's
always
going off,
talking stuff to the players, KD, Boogie, and all of them.
Didn't the Raptors like fine him last season or something like that for like talking stuff to some players?
Hey,
like,
that wasn't nothing to
I
him.
can see that. Nah.
That's pocket lint.
That's awesome. So Bush, it was nice having you on the show. Pleasure having you on. Raptors in 7 is his pick.
Hot takes.
Hot takes only today on Droppin Dimes, but I think that'll be it. Past the 30-minute mark.